Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to a special edition of the thing that we usually do. On 10.7, we noticed that there was a concern here with number 4. And so I wanted to take a moment just to kind of dig a little deeper into how we solve this one. Nearly everyone was able to get the correct setup, which was take the pieces of the chord and multiply them together. Okay? So everyone got that to some extent, and so I was very, very happy. So let's talk about what we do from here. Nearly everyone was able to get the next line. So everyone got that, and then a few had trouble here. So here we're going to distribute. X times x is x squared, and x times 7 is 7x. And that's where our first little bobble happened for only a few, not very many, only a few. Hi, they're right there. Okay. So now I'm going to do the rest of this on my lined paper off to the side because I'm going to make a big old mess. All right, so here we are. Now this is what's called a quadratic equation. And we've got a couple different techniques to solve this. All of them require us to change this equation so that it looks like this.
Standard?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's standard form for a quadratic equation. So I just need to move the 18 over. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Now from here we've got some options. We can use the quadratic formula. X equals negative b.
Plus or minus square root of
Minus 4ac all over 2a. Someone's heard the song. So we can use that. Or,
my other teacher told me that.
that's perfect. Or we could complete the square. Or we could factor. And all of them are the right way to go. Just whichever happens to be the easiest for you in the moment is the one you should pick. I happen to like factoring. I've just gotten a lot of practice at it. So that's the one that I am going to be showing you today. We're going to be doing something called sum and product factoring. Sum and product factoring require you to take the number in the spot where the letter A is and multiply it to the number in the spot where letter C is, and we're going to multiply them together. So I need to do A times C. Okay. So in this case, A is not there, which means we make it a 1. Exactly right. I saw someone mouth it. So A is 1 and C is negative 18. And so I'm going to multiply those together and figure out what I get. I get negative 18. Now I'm going to list all the pairs of numbers that I multiplied together that could possibly give me negative 18. Well, 1 and negative 18, or negative 1 and positive 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6, okay. Now notice that I'm writing this twice each, and that I've got those negative symbols bouncing between one or the other, okay. That's all I have right now because I had a few borrowed for like TSI and things. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Okay, I can't think of any more. All right, now that we've gotten our list, we are going to add them together. That's the sum portion. Okay, so we've done the product. Now we're going to do the sum. We're going to add them together, And what we're looking for is we're looking for the answer to be the same as letter B, which in this case is a positive 7. So 1 plus negative 18 is negative 17. Negative 1 plus 18 is positive 17. 2 plus negative 9 is negative 7. Negative 2 plus 9 is, there it is. I can stop now. I found one that works. So I'm not going to go any further. This is the one I want to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this 7 as this and this. So I'm going to have a negative 2x and a positive 9x. And then everything else is going to be the same. Okay, that's my first big step. We're okay with that? The next step is something called grouping. What I'm going to do is I'm going to draw two groups. Those are parentheses. And I'm going to put a plus sign between the groups because I have to make this work. And not because I see a plus right here. Okay, it is a plus because it has to be that to make it work. I'm going to fill the group, each group, with those items. Okay, so I'm just bringing them down in exactly the same order I had them before. I'm not worrying about anything. And now I'm going to do greatest common factor. So this step was I did some grouping. And now I'm going to do some greatest common factor. This is supposed to be a C. I just wrote it all down. Okay, so greatest common factor. All right, greatest common factor between x squared and 2x. That's the big question. Let's write all of these as their factors. So to get to x squared, I need to do x times x. To get to negative 2x, I have to go negative 2 times x. What do they both have in common? Yeah, the x. And so that is going to become my greatest common factor, is that x. And so I'm going to give myself some space. I'm going to remove that right now. And I'm going to write that greatest common factor here. And then I'm going to write some parentheses. And what goes in the parentheses is what I had left over that wasn't part of my greatest common factor. Sorry, I'm realizing that light blue is very hard to read, so let me darken it up a little bit. Is that better? Yes? Yes? Not by very much. All right, let me try again. How's that?
That's better.
Oh, yeah. Now we're working with a marker. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing for the other one. I still have this plus. This is still coming down. But now I'm going to find greatest common factor between these two. All right, I get 9 and x. And here I want something to be in common. So this has a 9, so I'm going to pull a 9 from this. 9 times negative 2 is what gives me negative 18. And notice that those are the same pairs as what we had over here originally. Okay? Notice that it ends up being the same numbers. I'm going to go ahead and grab my common here. And now in parentheses, I'm writing what's left over. And then once again, we're going to do a greatest common factor thing. But this time, the greatest common factor are these groups. You see how they're the same? See how these groups are the same? So that's going to become my new greatest common factor. So I'm going to write that entire thing out here in front. And then what's left over in a new set of parentheses and now it's factored. I know this looks like it's a lot of work. Okay? I know it looks like there's a lot going on. But I'm wanting to show this to you because this will work for you for the rest of however long you may need to factor things. This will carry you through Algebra 2. This will take you into pre-calculus, college algebra, calculus. Wait, when you get to college, calculus 1, 2, and 3. Look, I was the only one to pass a test that my Calculus 3 teacher gave because I could do that. And once you're practiced at this, you will be able to go from here to here to here without having to write down any of the rest of this stuff. It's written here for you now so you can see what's happening. Because I have a feeling that when you saw this in Algebra 1, that your teacher did stuff and it looked like magic how they went from here to here. Right? Did it feel a little bit like magic then? Okay, this is the trick behind the magic. This is what they were actually doing. They were just doing it in their head and they got really good at seeing the pattern. I don't expect you to be that good yet. Okay, maybe if you do it a million times, you know, and then you'll be like, I got this. And then you're going to like amaze your friends. All right? Okay. I know, it's still not solved. All we did was factor it. Okay? But now it becomes super easy to solve. Ready? This is the next magic trick. The next magic trick is to use something called the zero product property. Ooh, someone has heard this one before. The zero product property says this. If I've got two things being multiplied together and the result is 0, then one of the two things has to be 0. Okay? So if I've got these two things, they're multiplying together, my result is 0, then either this pink one is 0 or the blue one is 0. And so the only way to figure that out is to write each one equal to 0 and then solve for the variable to figure out which values of that variable make it 0. And now if I ignore everything above this line, those are really easy to solve. Yeah? So you're okay if I just go like this and then like this. Think through the magic trick. Yeah? Boom. And now we're done. So x could either be a positive 2 or a negative 9. All right? Okay. Let's take this back into the context of my original problem. So now that I've done all of that work, I know that x is either negative 2 or negative 9. And if I look at this picture, this is a physical circle with physical lines. Is it possible for me to have a physical distance of negative 9? No. And so I have to throw this answer out as not reasonable. And that's my final answer. All of that. For that. Okay. All right, so look at this again. You guys have this in your notes. Ask questions along the way. We felt okay to here, and we felt all right to here. Okay, now think through this, which was all of this. Any questions here? All right. Is there another way to do the factoring, or is there another way to get the answer? There might be some other ways to do this factoring that are essentially this, but are shortcuts to it, and so they look easier. But I'm hesitant to show you that until you're comfortable with this, because if I change this value here at A, the shortcut stops working. And you have to do something that feels like a completely different process. Instead, if you just do this every single time, it doesn't matter what I give you here in A. This will still give you the correct final factored form. There was a lot of F's there. Okay? So while yes, there's shortcuts to get around all of this mess, don't want you using them yet. All right, so felt good for all of this. All right, and then once we use the zero product property, it was easy peasy. Cool, and then talking about throwing out an answer that was unreasonable was okay. All right, thank you.